Welcome back. This is episode number 366 of the Healthy Diabetic Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Ken Kniss. Joining me as always, my good diabetic friend and partner in these amazing conversations, Graham Hubbard. Before we get started, please remember that nothing that you hear on this podcast should be considered medical advice or otherwise. Please always consult your medical team before making any changes to your diabetes management. We have a great show for you today. Graham hit me with a couple questions here before we started before we pressed record that we're going to jump into. So this is going to be juicy today. It's going to be juicy. Graham, what's up, man?
Did you say nothing is medical advice or whatever?
I did. Nothing is medical advice.
You said nothing should be considered. Did you say that?
Yeah. Did you not hear me say that? I just said it.
I don't know. You kind of go through the rundown, so I don't always hear that. And it's always so important to me because I know the shit that comes out of my mouth is far from medical advice.
Right.
It's my experience. That's the only thing. That's literally the only thing that it is. So I read this question. I could have sworn you had it somewhere in your notes. Maybe I reworded it, but I liked it a lot. What are 3 things that you do consistently well as a diabetic? And what are 3 things you wish you did considerably well as a diabetic? And I've had it written down for a while, and I always like to prioritize things that are in the news. And like our show yesterday, we talked about one and only one thing because it led to a deeper conversation, which is exciting, of course. But these are important things because diabetes is daily, and it's important to be okay with doing things daily, which I know is very, as you get older, you find that's so difficult for people, The one I always laugh about is we have plants all over my house. And because I enjoy the process of like watering them, and my wife would always be like, I can't keep anything alive. And it's like, I say, you have to water your plants just the same way you're going to like exercise, the way you're going to sleep, it should be part of your routine. And it is funny because it is life. Like I'm looking at them. It is life. Plants are living. They require basic things, but they require the regularity of something. I think I always laugh at my advice to people. Like it's the best advice. It's the easy advice. It's the trick to life. Just exercise every day, sweat. Like you'll be happy, but it's much, 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 much more difficult. And it's now that I'm 40, it's shocking that is one of those easier said than done things. I always find that funny, but long intro to what I was going to say. But diabetes is about consistency and doing things. So my first one was regular exercise, of course. And I also prefaced it with sweating, where I always say, like, I may go to the gym, I might go to the gym every day, but I'm not sweating. So I want to come home and like mow the lawn or clean the pool or go for a run or do something that's going to be, or rethink my exercise routine for that day to sweat. So again, long intro, but that was my number one. What was, go ahead with your list. Like, just give me your number one. We'll talk about each person's number one. So
my number one might need to be on the other list, but I still do it consistently is pre-bolusing.
Okay. Why would you right off the bat? Why do you?
Because the initial question was, the initial question was, is what do you do consistently, or what do you do really well all the time?
Yeah.
And I would consider that I pre-bolus well.
Okay.
But I don't do it consistently the way I should every single time.
Okay. Go ahead. Dive into this.
We all know that this is one of, I would probably consider it's probably the most important thing outside of taking enough insulin for how many grams or how much food or whatever, how much insulin you need for the food that you're consuming. It is by far the number one thing that is going to make or break you, I think. It's the number one thing that's going to prevent the post-meal chaos.
Ken is talking, by the way, of taking insulin ahead of eating.
Yeah, well, we all should know what pre-bolusing is. We should.
Not everybody, but far from everybody does that, bro.
You're absolutely right.
I don't play with that at all. I don't play with pre-bolusing at all, bro. Never have. But go ahead.
Which is right. So, okay. So for those of you who don't know what pre-bolusing is the timing of your insulin. the time that you take your insulin and you wait to eat your first bite, or the time that you take your insulin and you wait to eat your meal, right? Because there's ways that you can strategically do this where you don't have to do the full 15, 20, 25 plus minute pre-bolus, but still be able to eat something within that time frame. There's strategies that you can do. But in reality, at most every single insulin has a 15 plus duration on you take your insulin and you wait about 15 plus minutes before you actually eat something. And the only reason we need to do that is because we need to give insulin enough time to get through the skin, get through the tissue, get into the bloodstream, and attach itself to the cell so it can actually start bringing your blood sugar down. If you don't do this, which is why if you don't do it, you probably are experiencing post meal spikes in your blood sugar. It's because your insulin is basically working behind the digestion of the carbohydrates. So your insulin isn't, you didn't give your insulin enough time to get in front of that carbohydrate spike or that protein or fat spike, whatever it might be. So pre-bolusing is, I believe, is probably the number one most important thing that is going to make or break someone's A1C, time in range, blood sugar stability, outside of obviously taking enough insulin. Wow, that was a long rant.
Well, you didn't just say what you said. You made a argument for, for what you were saying. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't, my brain doesn't work that way, man. I also don't know when I'm eating makes sense. Like, I don't know how much I'm going to eat. Like, dude, I often, I grill a lot of things. So, like, I often grill a lot of protein and I'll put it on the plate and I'll get full halfway through. And then I'm like,
Yeah. But if you're not eating tons of carbohydrates, then it's a different story,
well,
right? Because remember
that's what I
the
was going to say.
protein, yeah, so
Hold
the
on.
protein and fat are gonna break down way slower, so you don't need the same amount of pre-bolus if you're
But
eating
that's what I was getting
protein,
ready to
fat,
say,
and
though.
carbohydrates.
If I get full and then I'm like, well, I should leave some room for something else, or maybe I want, to have some ice cream after said meal or something like that. It's not going to happen. It might be a little bit of a drawn out thing, right? Where I consume some protein and I may or may not, and say I need a gram of insulin, but if you had like
A
a
unit
bowl
of
of,
insulin.
if you had, what did I say?
You said gram of it.
If I took a unit of
If you had a gram
insulin, if I took a unit of insulin and I saw like a little bit of, I don't know, but I needed 4 units, but an hour later, once I was done eating, I don't want to feel as though I have to eat because I pre-bolused. If that makes sense.
it makes sense, but still you're in your scenario, if you're just eating protein and fat from just all of the meat that you just made, and maybe you have some vegetables or something with it, some fiber, you don't need a huge pre-bolus. Maybe even you might not need a pre-bolus at all because you're taking such little insulin anyway. But for those of us who are eating a full meal at that time, regardless if I'm grilling and grilling up a bunch of protein and then I've got like potatoes or french fries or whatever it might be, vegetables and carbohydrates with the protein, and I'm eating all of it at the same time, you need a pre-bolus.
So
Because if you don't, you're gonna have a post-meal spike.
here's a
The other
question
thing that I
for
would
you.
say hold on, so the other thing I would say, because you brought up ice cream, which is a great thing to bring up, a dessert after you're done eating, right? Okay, in your case, you're taking a little bit of insulin for the protein that you're consuming, you don't have a lot of carbohydrates or very little. You don't need a pre-bolus maybe, you are taking very little insulin, but then when you go and sit down for the ice cream, you 100% should pre-bolus because the insulin that you put in was for the protein and fat, not for the ice cream.
You and I can make an argument out of, like, you remind me of my wife. My analogy with my wife. My analogy with my wife is we could look at a rock in the middle of the road and have two completely different opinions of what we're fucking looking at. What if, let me ask you something. What if unplanned, unannounced, you sat down with a bag of Tostitos, tortilla chips,
Yeah,
just to have like 20 minutes and you end up eating however many you eat?
yeah.
Are you pre-bolusing for that event?
It depends on the
No,
situation.
okay, it doesn't fucking depend. You either do it or you don't do it. This
It
is not
does
even
depend.
a
It does
yes or
depend.
no. No, no, okay. It's
It
yes
does
or no.
depend. It depends.
You just help me win my argument. I just that was
No,
kind
I
of my
how did
answer.
I
It's
don't
never the same. It's never the same eating experience. So why would I
but
even
what
consider a pre-bolus?
you're
That would
missing,
completely change the
right,
way I eat.
you're missing one thing. You are missing this very crucial thing. It doesn't matter if you're not pre-bolusing. Let's just say for those chips you're gonna take 4 units. Let's just say that.
That's a
Let's
ton,
take me as
dude.
the example.
That's a
Hold
ton.
on. It's a ton for you, Graham. It's not a ton for other people. It's not a ton for me. My insulin to carb ratio is 1 to 10. So 4 units is only 40 grams for me. So even if I was due diligent and I measured out 40 grams of those chips and not even pre-bolus, but just took the insulin, 100%, I would say probably 7 out of 10, 8 times, I'm going to have a post-meal spike. Because physiologically, way insulin, like regular, what I call synthetic insulin, Humalog, Novolog, Lemjev, whatever it is, biologically, physiologically, insulin doesn't have enough time to get in front of that blood sugar spike. That's what pre-bolus is. So if you're sitting after dinner and you're consuming ice cream and didn't take a lot of insulin for your meal, you probably don't have enough insulin to even cover the first part of that spike from that ice cream. If you're sitting down like you're saying now, Graham, with the chips, you definitely don't have enough because you didn't eat anything before. There's no insulin on board. Here's the thing, what I believe with pre-bolus where we could have a little bit of flexibility if there's already insulin on board. So in your scenario, this is where I would agree with you. I ate a sandwich 45 minutes before I actually sat down and ate those chips
Mm-hmm,
or had that ice cream.
mm-hmm.
I probably don't need a pre-bolus because there's already insulin working in the
Sure.
background that's going to help with a little bit of spike from the chips or the ice cream. I just can't go balls to the wall and nose deep into those chips and just eat them within 5
But
seconds.
wait. But regardless if you had one chip or the whole bag, you're going to take some more insulin for that amount of
If
chips that
I'm
you.
having one chip, if I'm eating as an example, right?
This
This
is
is all hypothetical,
this is why it doesn't
right?
work, dude.
Does work, dude.
It
It
doesn't
does
work.
100% work. You're making a statement based off of something that you don't understand physiologically with the
No, it's way
body.
too planned. It's not about that. It's way too planned. It's way too planned in
That's
your head.
diabetes, Graham. You cannot be successful with diabetes unless you consistently plan. It's just the nature of the beast. It sucks. I'm not going to sit here and say that I do it all the time perfectly every single time because I don't. I 100% don't. But the difference is I understand and I'm not pissed off at myself 2 hours later when I had this huge spike and I got to be on the roller coaster. That's on me because I didn't pre-bolus. That's on me because I didn't take enough insulin. That's on me because I didn't strategically plan for that meal. Once you understand that piece, I promise, once you understand that piece, all of the other headaches go away because you don't have as many. You just don't. You're not going to spike to 250 if you have a 15, 20-minute pre-bolus. Unless you're eating 100 and some grams of carbohydrates and don't take enough insulin. Or have all this fat on board, fat and protein that you're eating as well, i.e. pizza. It's just not going to happen if you pre-bolus and take enough insulin. It's just not. Most of the time. Sometimes it might, but most of the time it won't. So going back to your one chip idea, in that scenario, I'm not going to even probably take any insulin for one chip. If I'm eating the whole entire bag, 100% I'm taking insulin, and 100% you should. I probably wouldn't do it in that scenario either because I'm an idiot, but you should pre-bolus because that's going to be a lot of insulin for most people. If you're eating a whole entire bag of Tortito chips, even if you're eating it within an hour, right? I take a couple bites, I walk away. I take a couple more bites, a couple minutes later, walk away. And just eating it very slowly, maybe then you might not need as big a pre-bolus that you would need if you were actually sitting there and consuming all of them at once within, 20 minutes. This is the problem with people in pre-bolusing. They don't really understand what the real mechanism of why we have to do it. And it's simply to prevent the post-meal spike. It doesn't mean that you're going to prevent it from spiking at all. It just means that you're going to prevent being at 120 when you start eating and going to 250, 300.
Let me ask one more question. Quickly answer it, 'cause
Yes.
I wanna
Yes.
move on.
I'll try.
We're gonna
Yes, I
get
will try.
when you order a meal at a restaurant, do you let the meal come and it's sitting in front of you and then dude, it has to be
It
quick because we have a long list here, bro. So we can argue about this shit all
Okay,
day long, or you
I'm
can
gonna be
just quickly
quick.
answer it.
I'm gonna be quick.
Thank you.
It depends. It depends. It depends on how many carbs I'm consuming. If I'm eating like a bunch of carbohydrates, then yes, I'm gonna pre-bolus. If I am not and I'm eating a salad and I only need like 1 or 2 units, then no, I'm not gonna pre-bolus. It all depends on the carbohydrate load that I'm consuming. That is the number one thing. So, going back to your story of, like, you cook a bunch of protein and that's all you're gonna, like, munch on for the next hour? No, you don't need a pre-bolus for that. I don't think that you probably need a pre-bolus for that because the amount of insulin that you're taking for that is it's so low. But if I'm sitting in there and I'm gonna eat 80, 90, 100 grams of carbohydrate, 100% you gotta
Okay.
pre-bolus.
If you're at a restaurant and you order a sandwich and a side salad, right? And it comes out by mistake with French fries, and they're like, "We'll just say that we'll bring you the salad." Are you not going to eat the fries? Like,
I
are you
probably would eat
that
the fries.
what?
No, 100%.
Okay,
I probably would eat the fries
that's
too.
my point. This is
Come
why
on,
everything
monster
you said, in
food.
my opinion, everything you said in the last 15 minutes is stupid, and I would disregard all of it. It's the worst
So
advice possible.
let me
Let
ask
me
you this one
go
last
on with my
question.
list. Let me go on with my
Hold
list.
on.
What?
I got one question for you.
Yes.
This is one question on pre-bolusing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have post-meal spikes?
Um,
More than 50 to 60 grams or 50 to 60 points. More than 50 to 60 points. And you can even say maybe 70 or 80. Most of the time when you're eating and you're actually eating carbohydrates, not just protein and fat, when you are sitting down and eating a meal, do you have post-meal spikes that you effectively have to cover for maybe a little bit of a high a couple hours later? That's a yes or no question.
no,
No, you don't?
never.
Never? Ever,
No,
ever, ever? Ever, 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 ever?
never
I don't
happened.
believe
Not
you.
not a single time it's ever
I
happened.
don't believe you.
All
In
right.
30 years of diabetes, it's never
The
happened. I
next
don't
thing
believe
on
you.
my list,
Let's go.
I consistently every day of my life, I will, and maybe CGMs have changed this, but I take pride in it. I test my blood sugar just to test my blood sugar, like
Mm,
regardless of eating, like I want to know just to know. So I wrote,
yeah.
I test to test. What about hit me with your second and we'll talk.
Man, do you have my list? I don't remember what
No,
my
I
list
looked.
was.
I looked. What do you well then
Maybe
while
it's
you think
gone.
about it, like what do you think about what I
Okay,
just said?
so
Because
I think that's incredible. That's amazing
okay.
because again, most people wouldn't do that
Okay,
if they
that's what
had
I
a
was gonna
test.
ask you. Do you think people don't like are people not just looking to look?
No, because they CGM and they just look on their phone and they trust the CGM data wholeheartedly.
So here's my interesting question.
Yeah, yeah.
Are they waiting for a notification? Are they checking?
They're
Like what do
checking.
you think?
It
What do
de-
you really think?
what do
Like
I really
first thing in the
think?
morning is everybody, regardless if they have a
You
notification
better.
or
You
okay.
better.
I don't know. I don't know.
So, yeah, so because this is really awesome, dude. I'm so glad we're talking about this. You're thinking about it. We're thinking about this on two different perspectives. One from MDI. I don't have a CGM. I'm testing my blood sugar manually, and I have a CGM.
Yeah.
So the really cool thing that happened when CGM started coming out is it allowed people to not have the fatigue of constantly having to prick their finger. That was one of the first things that happened. So
Yeah.
people started losing that anxiety of having to do that constantly all day long.
Because people are
Started
children.
disappearing. No, they're not children.
Yeah, they're babies. Go ahead.
They're not babies. Okay. So that's one thing that happened when CGMs came out.
Hmm.
Okay. But then what happened is because we have something in front of us 24/7, now people get data anxiety and data fatigue.
Me. Yeah.
So now you're on the other side of the spectrum. The question becomes, when are the points of the day that you should be checking, and when are the points of the day that are just like you said, you're getting notified or like you're sparked to actually check,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
The first time, 100%, you should know what your blood sugar is when you get up and you're fasted.
Mhm.
What is my blood sugar?
Mhm.
Okay, that is the number one first thing. Every single day that I get up in the morning, before I even leave the bedside, I'm usually checking my CGM to see what it says. From there, I have to make a decision. What has the data been over the night? Have I had some compression lows? Have I had some signal loss? Do I think this number is correct? Because if I don't think it's correct, then I got to go do a finger and see if it's correct. That's the first thing that goes through my brain in the morning. I literally did it this morning. I woke up, my CGM said I think I was 153, 163. I'm like, and I'm looking at the data and I see there's a lot of like lost signals, like it's going in and out. I'm like, man, this is it's not even been 24 hours of this CGM. This is probably not accurate. So what did I do? At 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning,
Finger prick.
I went to my desk, I finger pricked. Guess what my blood sugar was?
70.
119.
Okay.
What would have happened if I would have covered for the 153?
I know. This is my
I would have
complaint.
been low.
That's why I always
It is 100%. But here's the thing that we have to understand with CGMs. Out of all, we have talked about this, and your and I before I say this, I want to say again that I love your perspective on CGMs because it's 100% accurate for you. Okay, 100% accurate for you, and the way that having a CGM versus having a glucose meter, how that what that does to your mental health. Okay, that is a very important piece to this conversation. Okay, so those of you who are listening or watching on YouTube, if you don't know, Graham stopped using a CGM and is now just on glucose meter finger pricks again, which because his it was just giving him too much anxiety of constantly checking or constantly seeing or constantly getting alarms, all the things that we all deal with CGMs. Okay, here it, and here's my perspective on this. I don't care what the hell you do. I don't. What I care about is you're getting the data that you need to be successful. For Graham, I trust him because he's going to check his blood sugar with a glucose meter 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 times a day because that's the way he rolls. Someone else doesn't have that determination to know specific data points throughout the day, to have information to make a decision on what's going on. I still think he's crazy because I want to see what my blood sugar for me, I want to see what my blood sugar is doing in all the other spaces that I'm not actually finger pricking because a glucose monitor is just a picture in time where an actual CGM is giving you a live feed 24/7. So I can make better decisions. I feel like I can personally make better decisions with a CGM. Okay, now going back to my story with the CGM, and I want to get your perspective here in a second, Graham. Going back to my story from this morning with the CGM, so I'm 163. CGM says I'm getting a couple like vibrated alarms because it's over 150, which is my target, and so I'm getting those alarms, and so I wake up, finger prick, it's 119, and I calibrate. Right? This is very important because I personally didn't trust the number. All the information that I was getting from that data point from the device was telling me my gut was telling me that something was wrong. Your gut and your feeling is more important what that number says. I swear to God. And sometimes your gut's going to say, this is not right. You're going to finger prick and be like, oh my God, this is right on. It's like not even 10 milligrams per deciliter off, which is accurate compared to their standards, right? So this is the thing that we have to understand with CGM. It's not 100% accurate, but how do you want to live your life? If you want to live your life like Graham and want to be totally free, oh my God, 100% go do it. Like, let's go. Let's go. But if you don't and you want to see the data and you want to see the information because it gives you more opportunity, I think, to be successful and to make better decisions, then go do that. But again, the number one thing is that it cannot affect your mental health with you checking it, with the inaccuracy, with the, oh, shoot, it just fell off, or shoot, I'm bleeding and I have to get put another one. that can't affect your mental health. That's part of the process of wearing a CGM. That shit just happens. And as soon as it starts affecting your mental health, get rid of it or find a better way to deal with it. Graham, your thoughts.
I stuck onto something you said, and I wonder about this. Is that I don't know if it's two, if we've come from two places of different thought, or if it's we've been educated differently. But I never have, never will, never would ever take insulin at 160. I would never take insulin at 170, 180, probably not even 190. I'm just that to me is bigger problem. And let me hold on.
Yeah, cool.
People are way, way, way too obsessed with A1C, that blah blah blah. If you are doing everything else right, you're exercising, blah 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 blah. Give yourself some grace, bro. Give yourself some grace. You're not losing years off your life because you're happening to run at 150, 160, 170. That to me, that is the biggest farce. And again, I will specify I am not a medical professional. But if you are, like, again, if you're happy, if you're exercising, if you're living right, never in a million years would I give someone the advice to take insulin at 160. I would tell you, you're going to hate me for saying this. If I test my blood sugar and it starts with a 1, I don't even look at the other two numbers. It's 1 something. I'm perfect. I think, and this is my opinion, I think people are being feared into lowering that number at that point. And I think you are being misled. I think a 7 A1C is perfect, actually. I think a 7.5 A1C isn't the best, but you got to work on it, but you're completely fine. Now, I say that with people being like, oh, I have an 8. I'm fine. He said I'm good, but understand if I have a 7.5, I'm exercising every day. I'm busting my ass. But you just said I'm determined to do what it takes on a regular basis. But I am not losing sleep at having an A1C of 7 or my blood sugar being 170. I just want to say that. Like, that's very important to me, but I think it causes a lot more issues for people, not only mentally, but in spikes that happen. And it's just unnecessary. I just find it completely unnecessary. You're not losing you. You're not losing. You're you are losing. This is diabetes, in my opinion. You are losing years off your life. You are going to lose a foot. You're going to go blind because you're eating fucking ice cream and carbohydrates, and you're not exercising, and you're a bitch. Like, that's what it is. That's what it comes down to. You're just a bitch, like, not taking the disease serious. So you have a look on your face. So that's it. Like, I'll say it again and again. You're a loser and a quitter if you can't. Like, that's it. You are. You are. You have to do it every day.
If you can't what? If you can't what? You're a loser and a quitter if you can't what?
You're a loser and a quitter if you think to be something. You don't have to be anything. Hold on.
It's
Hold on.
not about
Hold on.
having to be anything.
Hold on. Stop, because this is what people do. I hear it all the time. You don't have to do anything. You need to make the right decisions and do it your way. Don't listen to other people's standards. Don't say blah, blah, blah. Everybody has a fucking opinion. You own your body. You hold your body. You know when you look in the mirror if you're doing things. And you are a loser and a quitter if you make excuses when you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I'll figure it. Like, no, stop. You're a loser. Figure it out for you. It does not have to be by the book. You compliment me for treating myself this way. This is how I look at it. That is how I look at it.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
to myself, Graham, you just spent the whole weekend, I don't know, doing whatever it was. That is like loser behavior. Get your shit back together. You're a quitter. You are a quitter if you stay on this course. Long rant.
Good stuff, man.
Lots of
Good stuff, man.
again, proof is in the pudding, bro.
And what pudding? Your pudding? Because
Yes.
that's not an accurate
Look at me,
pudding
bro. Look at me.
for
What's
everyone else that
inaccurate?
lives with type 1
Look,
disease.
bro.
That's an accurate pudding for you.
If you
That's
spent
an accurate
10
pudding
minutes
for
with
you.
me, if you spent 10 minutes with me, you would be like, I want to know what juice you're drinking, because that sounds amazing.
Okay.
It's not
So
bullshit. Here's
I'm
the
gonna
thing.
I'm gonna
Nothing.
find the stat. Go ahead. Finish your
No,
thought.
none of it. This is where I always say, like, I think the best determination to anybody is if you really believe what you're doing is right. Let me walk into your house right now. Nothing prepared. Let me walk in right now. Let me see your fridge. Let me see you live. You can open door policy. You know it. You came to my house. You lived with me. We vegged out and did nothing. We watched football. It sucked, but we still got our exercise. We never went out to eat. We were cooking for ourselves. Like, the proof is in the pudding, bro. I don't know what to say.
But that has nothing to do with someone's blood sugar.
People have so much to
You
hide. It does. But
what do we
blood
have
sugar
hide to
comes down
hide?
to how people are living their it's an
It doesn't,
indicator of how
man.
you're living your life.
It doesn't, man. It doesn't. Because someone's blood sugar could be out of whack because they just don't know how to deal with it. They haven't been taught how to actually look at all the factors and the variables
So let me
and
ask you
how
a
to
question.
use
When that
that.
goes on for years and years and years, whose problem is that?
It's the individual's problem. We're not saying that
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
what I'm
the individual's
saying. And you're right.
problem.
Listen to those
No, no, no,
individuals.
no.
To those
It's
individuals, you owe it.
It's not that, but hold on a second. It does matter, Graham. It does matter for that individual that doesn't know any different. Just like we talk about with eating a bunch of crap and you have all these chronic conditions because you've basically ate yourself stupid and you weigh 350 pounds plus and you have a shitty lifestyle, you have a terrible, like you don't exercise. It's this, it that individual is only two different types of people. One, someone that just doesn't care, or two, someone that hasn't been educated and they don't know different. That's how they grew up, by eating whatever the heck they want. They've never had an issue with their health, whatever it might be. We're talking about the same type of thing with diabetes. Okay. And I'm going to go into this piece with the blood
Wait, wait,
sugar
wait, really
piece.
quick. Does the 350-pound person drinking Coca-Cola and pizza all day, do they know what they're doing is wrong? Like, even if they've been taught, hey, they're completely uneducated. This is how they've been taught. Do they know that that's wrong? Do they just
Some do, some don't. Some do, some don't.
some people genuinely, like, if they can't move in their like knees, or like they can't get out of the seat and they're so big, uh, they don't know that drinking the Coca-Cola is the problem.
They don't know not everybody.
I
Some people don't, dude. I'm telling you, some people don't know that that is a
nice.
problem.
Here's the
So,
best compliment for you.
and
The
you
best,
have to,
you're
but
so
it's
nice.
not,
You're
it's
too
not about
nice to
it's
people.
not about being nice, Graham. It is not about being nice. It is about stating a direct fact. Because I have worked with these individuals my entire career. People that don't know that they shouldn't go to freaking Starbucks every single day and get a triple latte. People don't know that that is bad, that that is not good for your blood sugar. People don't know. People don't know that they shouldn't go eat at McDonald's every fucking day. People don't know. But then you also have the other person who knows but don't have the mental capacity because of fear, because of their own self-identity, that they don't know how to make the change, that they need help to make the change. I have literally worked with these individuals that know they shouldn't go to Starbucks, know they shouldn't go to McDonald's, know they shouldn't eat like crap, but it's how they cope with the emotions of their life. That person, it's not a problem of them going and exercising. They can exercise all day long. It is a problem with their mental health and how they view themselves and how they feel the society or everyone else views them. That is a very serious condition. It is a real and serious condition. I'm not giving that person a pass whatsoever. That person does not get a pass. But what they do need is they need compassion and empathy from the rest of everyone else to help them get to the place of choice. Help them get to the place of, okay, I understand that this is not okay. I understand I shouldn't be eating like this, but I can't get past it. I need help. That's the person that we as a society need to help. We're not going to help the individual who's 350 pounds in their house, dying because they have so much subcutaneous fat or fat and everything on their organs, and their organs are failing because they're so unhealthy, and they just either don't know any different or they just don't give a flying crap. We can't help that person, but we 100% can help the person who is ready for the change.
All right. I got a question
It's the
for you.
same. Hold on, it's the same thing with blood sugar, because you specifically made a comment about blood sugar, and I need to like comment about this. So I understand what you're saying about the blood sugar piece, but at the end of the day, your blood sugar is not supposed to be over 100. It's just not supposed to be. Whether you're diabetic or not, your blood sugar is not supposed to be over 100. That's why normal ranges, especially fasting, is between 75 and 90. That's what your normal ranges for most people should be. So for us to sit here and say that it's okay to hang out at 180, it's okay to hang out at 200, it's okay to hang out at 150, 160, that is that's someone's prerogative. They're allowed to do that. But what we have to understand is every blood sugar meter or every blood sugar point that you're above 100, your risk of cardiovascular disease, your risk of amputation, your risk of eye disease, your risk of diabetes complications increase, which is why they tell us not to have these up and down roller coasters, because that's more detrimental than staying at 200. But you're not going to feel it when you're young. But you 100% will feel it if you are constantly over those numbers and have high blood sugars of whatever that high number is. You are going to have complications. You will if you consistently have high blood sugars. That's why it's important to have good stability in your blood sugars. I'm not sitting here saying that everyone should be at 100. I'm not saying that whatsoever. If Graham feels comfortable at 160, 170, he's not going to take insulin for that. Great. That's Graham's prerogative. I don't want that because I know my risk of complications go up the higher above 100 I am for a long period of time. It is a simple scientific fact. I will look
I would
on Claude.
say
I will try to look for. There was a really good research study that was done a while back. I don't remember the exact year, but there was a really good research study that was done a while back that simply said the farther you get from 100 or even like 95, 90 or 95, the percentages, and I don't remember the percentage, so I'm not going to quote it. The risk of complications, health complications, not just diabetes complications, but health complications dramatically increase. That's it.
send that to me and I'll print it out and crumple it up and throw it in the trash with the rest of the fucking trash.
It's cool, man.
I have an honest question for you. If you had a client, and I'm sure it happens all the time.
Yeah.
You have a client that comes to you all the time, but they're lying to you all the time.
Oh yeah.
What you're not going to like? Why wouldn't you? Like, I don't understand. It's the same thing when someone's like, "I want you to be honest with," and the only thing you could think is you're fat. You're fat. Like, it's like the question of like if your wife asks you, and if your wife asks you, "How do I look in this?" and you think she's fat, you call her? Do you know you look fat? Would you do that?
I would never tell someone they're fat.
Would you tell your? Hold on. Hold on.
I wouldn't tell my wife she's fat either.
Hold on. This is a very, very, very simple but important question. Your wife says to you, "Ken, you are my husband. You will be honest with me. Do I look fat?" And she looks fat and she's put on weight.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Tell her she's fat.
No, not probably. Yes or no. Do you say? You're laughing.
I would probably tell her that she was fat. Yeah, because I have a good rapport and a good relationship with my wife.
Thank God. Even if you're lying, you almost like made my legs. Okay.
Okay. But when you turn around with someone that's not.
Stop.
Oh my
God. You
got
such a long fucking chance to talk. Stop. If you found out that a client you've had for 2 years every time is lying about what they're eating and what they're doing, and they're still fat, and they're still saying, "Ken, be honest with me," is it not your job? When is it your job? Like when is it your job to not take the advice that you just said and lose your fucking patience and say, "Dude," and not say it's because you're doing X and lying. It's just because you just are. Like, you just look at you. This was where I go back to saying loser. Where is what I said. Just because you're a loser or you're a fucking, that doesn't mean that you can't, that means you need to fix what you're doing. You've lost. As in you win by losing. You've lost right now. This is where I completely lose, and I will never apologize for those things I say ever. But if you need someone to be honest with you and that's the answer, and You want to hear it 1,000 other ways, you are a loser. And it goes right back down to the things I say with diabetes. It's the exact same shit. You're lying. You're lying to your fucking self. So don't expect the rest of the world to fucking bow down to you. Is what I say. And having a sympathetic coach, I don't know. I just don't agree with it. I would never be a coach like that. I would just never coach that way. And maybe
You
that's why
wouldn't
I'm not
have
a
clients
coach.
very long. You
What?
wouldn't have clients very long.
Yeah.
One, you wouldn't have clients very long. People will call you an asshole.
But I have the best. But the clients, but I don't have like the greatest fucking people that they'd be like, well,
Cool.
I wish I was just like the people
Cool.
that work for
You'd
me.
have
Like,
the perfect, you would only have the clients that are perfect. You'd only have the clients that like
all I would want to work
100%,
with. That's the people
like,
that work for my
that's
company.
fine.
There are people that work for me that were brought in by people that have now left the company that couldn't hang with me. That those same people are like, well, I can
That's
hang
fine.
with the way you are. Like,
That's what type of leader you are. And that's fine. That's why you're such a unique person. I personally think that you are going to get more out of somebody by helping them through the emotion. Being fat is an emotion. It is not just a physical thing of I'm eating a bunch of shit, I'm not exercising, I'm not taking care of my blood sugar as a diabetic. It is a fucking emotion. And if you can't help a person with the emotion, how the hell are you going to help them through everything else? Because the emotion is what is getting in the way. Not I'm eating like crap. They're eating like crap and they're acting and they have that specific behavior because of the emotion that's driving their every decision. You have to be able to help and guide the person through the emotion. It's not about someone being fat or not fat. It's about the decisions that they're making and the reason that they're making that decision. So for me, just calling someone fat for me, it's a stupid thing because it's not getting us anywhere. They fucking know they're fat. They know that they're fat. Why do I have to push that in their face? That's not my job. My job is not to tell them they're fat. My job is to be honest with them about why they are fat. There's a difference. Why are you fat? Why do you have this specific behavior? That's where we have to attack this from. The emotion, not the physical appearance. The physical appearance doesn't fucking matter because
we're not talking about
if the
appearance,
person,
Ken. We're not talking about appearance. We're talking about
but you are
outright obese. Like,
okay, but that is an appearance piece and that is a judgment piece from yourself and from the rest of society.
why would you get why would you get bigger and bigger if you felt that way?
Because the emotion is getting in the way from taking action.
Yeah.
The emotion that got them there is
wrong,
getting in the way of taking action on something. That's why. If you can get past the emotion, the taking action becomes easy. I'm telling you, 18 years of doing this with people, when you get past the emotion, taking action is fucking easy.
Not confident. Is that just being confident?
Confidence is part of that. Like if you can't take action because of an emotion, confidence, you don't have confidence in yourself. So you have to attack it with the emotions. Why are you doing this? When did this start? When did you start to notice there was a problem? Do you notice there's a problem? Specific conversational starters like that, I'm telling you, are way more powerful than a person that is dealing with obesity, overweight, trouble with their blood sugar management, than saying like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why can't you figure this out? Because that right there also goes back to what we have all heard a billion times from our doctors. I don't have your back. Why the fuck are you doing this? Why your blood sugar is not better? You were just 7.5 last time and now you're 7.4. Why can't you do better? You were 7.5 last time and you're the same. Why can't you do better? You were 7.5 last time and now you're an 8. What's going on? Why are you not doing this? You're clearly not doing something. That is going to push someone away and make them dive deeper into the emotion of why they're not taking action. Instead of, you were 7.5 last time, now you're 8. My gosh, are you okay? What's been going on? Talk to me. What do you feel like is the problem? Diving deep into why is this happening is a much powerful statement than why can't you get this?
I guess where I go back to is if somebody is hiring you, paying you, and still making it more difficult for themselves. That just seems
Yeah, then it's up to you to guide them through it. And I will also tell you this, doing this 18 plus years. There are people that you confront. There are people that you basically tell them that there is a problem and you need to recognize it. And if you're not going to take action, I cannot help you. I
mhm.
have walked away from clients because
Have
they
you?
refuse to take
Yeah.
action,
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
right?
That's fair. Yeah.
Then that's a different story too, Graham,
Yeah.
right? But for me, to your original question of like, would you ever call someone fat? No, because that's not going to get us anywhere. Regardless if I think this person's a fat ass or not, that's not going to get us to where
What
we need to be.
what if someone asked you to treat when they're training with you to treat them the opposite and like of what you are and what me more like me. Like I want you
If
yelling at
they
me.
want me to tell them they're fat and they come out and say, "Hey, I need you to tell me I'm fat. I need you to tell me I'm a dumbass," then hell
Yeah.
yeah, you're a dumbass. You're
Have you
fat. Like
have you
what are you
like
doing?
have you ever been able to coach like that, like a little bit more
I've never got to that point,
aggressively?
honestly.
Huh?
Oh yeah, I've got to that point aggressively, but I've never got to that point where I've had to basically tell someone you're fat and overweight because they already know it.
Yeah.
They already know it.
If you were if you were coaching a team at a high level, say you're because everybody knows this analogy,
Yeah.
you're coaching high school varsity and a player that's stuck on JV coming up to their senior year and doesn't even know they could dress for varsity. And the reality is, no matter how hard they work, they just don't have that same raw natural talent as everybody else. Like, would you think in a situation like that, you would be able to? Are you still going to tell the kid like, hey, if you work hard and blah blah blah, or at that point, or
I
like,
think you have to be
is there a
honest with the
line?
kid.
Like,
Yeah.
do you know that there is a
I think there's a
line where?
line, but
Okay, okay,
dude, Graham, there in coaching, there's a line, but there's also a line that you shouldn't cross. Like, right? I think there's a line that you shouldn't cross, especially with a young mind.
okay. Wait. But if you know, I was because I was very different than you even in coaching. But if you know, there's not even a chance his kid's going to dress for varsity, let alone play, because they're
Yeah,
just not.
you're gonna
They're
have
just
as
not.
the coach.
They're just not
Yes,
good.
Graham,
Hold
as
on.
the
They're just not good enough. No matter what they do, they're just not good. Ken's thinking he didn't. It's fucked up. I love that you never maybe been asked this question, like, or you never had to think about something like that, like.
no, because I've never gone down this route. I'm just not
Okay,
that type
but
of
I'm just
coach.
just out of it's just just a
Okay, so yes, I would tell a kid, right? If I'm a varsity coach,
mhm,
okay, and this kid wants to play more, this kid wants to dress varsity.
mhm,
I might have to have that awkward conversation with the kid. But again, the words that you say to a young mind is very important.
okay. How do you tell
Me
a kid he's
telling this,
good enough and it's not even gonna happen at all?
I'm not,
You're always gonna say, like, you're always gonna promise
but I
A,
think,
buddy,
yeah.
which is even
So
worse
that's
because
the
when it
wrong,
gets to the end of the 4 years, he's like, "Well, Coach Ken always told me I might."
but it is always a might. It always is a might. Look at Michael Jordan. He got cut from his freshman basketball team. That dude is the
Ken
greatest player ever to play the game.
Ken, you and I both know we can spend an hour with any team watching them play. You can create 5 different
Yes,
groups
Graham.
of levels
You
just by
can
using your
find the
knowledge.
kids that aren't good enough. Yes, 100%. So,
Okay.
okay, just to appease your question, here
These
you
are
go.
just like these are just
Okay,
what do
just
they
to
call
appease.
them? A made up scenario. It's not real. I'm
Okay,
doing Donald
just
Trump
to
hands right now.
yeah,
Okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
just to appease your question, right? If I had a kid, I'm a varsity coach, I had a kid that is never gonna play varsity for me and actually play. Me personally, I'm gonna be upfront with that kid, but I'm also gonna give them 2 options, and it's up to them. They get to choose because I should not make that decision for him or her. I'm going to say to that kid, "This is the reality of the situation. As of this moment, okay, you are not good enough to have time on varsity. Here are the things that you need to work on." Now, I'm also saying this, even if you work on these things, that's no guarantee, but it's your choice. And then I would give him the options. You can either, okay, not come out for the team, okay, and put your time and energy into something else that you really enjoy, or We would love to have you, and you helped the team win. I say that because this same exact scenario was given to me by my high school basketball
Yeah.
coach.
Yep.
Going into sophomore year, or no, yeah, going into sophomore year. No, this was going into junior year. This is after sophomore season. He hadn't been fired yet, or he hadn't left yet. The varsity basketball coach, I was at every single practice. I worked my ass off. I just wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough to play in his system. I didn't have enough confidence to play in his system, in myself and myself as a player. And we were getting ready to go into summer camps and summer practices. And he pulled me aside before summer started. He was like, "Look, Ken, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're not good enough to play on this team, but you come to everything. You work your ass off. You are a great worker. You care about this program. You care about this team. So you can 100% join us for the summer, but you're probably not going to step on the court at all." He gave me the option. He gave me the option. Instead of saying like, "Dude, you're never going to play for this team. Just don't come back."
Hmm.
The words that he used was very impactful for me. The words that we use, whether it's to another adult, whether it's to a young mind, the words that we use are very, very important.
It's funny. I had the exact same thing happen to me at almost the exact same time. Probably the best, man. I was gonna say sports advice. Maybe it's turned into some of the best life advice I've ever had. Sophomore year of high school, lacrosse coach pulled me aside. He goes, "You're either gonna be a JV all star or you're gonna play varsity." And then they did the option like, but if you play JV, you're gonna make like what you just said. If my friends are there, I could like play JV, and like you're gonna make the
Mhm.
varsity better because they're scrimmage against better people. That made me
Yeah.
fucking sick to my stomach. I hated that more than anything. I was like, I don't owe the
Yeah.
team. I want to win. I don't owe the team. They're gonna get better because of me playing better. If that made me literally sick to my fucking stomach, and it gives me goosebumps right now. I was like, I will never. I worked, and then what I did is I not only did I start working harder, but when all the attackmen, I used to play attack. When they would fuck up, I'd go up to the coach and be like, "Hey, remember me?" And it worked, bro. Like it only took about 3 times. There's a kid named Tommy Boone, and I was like, I'm just gonna every time he fucks up, I'm just gonna ruin him. And he became like my worst enemy. And he asked for a time. He's like, "Dude, I thought we were boys." I was like, it doesn't mean anything to me now. Like, I am not here to make you better.
We
I'm here
are
to
boys,
play.
but I'm also trying to get talent,
Yeah,
playing time, and you're
exactly. Yeah,
fucking up.
yeah. And that was the other thing I learned. Like, you're there to win. Like, that was the other thing. That kind of happened to me when I was young. Like, I never understood. We're not there to participate. Like, it's never the most fun. I'll say this every time. I won a state championship. We were 16 and the most fun you'll ever have is winning. So we have to wrap up here.
Yeah.
Listen, you gave
Yeah.
me like one thing. So maybe next time we can remember.
We'll go through the rest of this list on the next
Yeah,
episode.
very, very sidetracked, but they are very important things that
These are all
it's
good,
not for
man. Like, we
this
should
isn't
keep
for
this going.
everybody's ears is like, and I get it. It's hard to hear, but I don't know, man. Like, that's why I love,
But
that's
your
why I love life.
perspective though, but your
Be
perspective
competitive
isn't
with yourself. But my biggest message, fuck everybody else and how everybody else does it. Do it for you. Be competitive with yourself. Do not compare yourself to other people. Be the absolute best version of yourself because fuck everybody else. Nothing else matters. Obviously, I love everybody. Take care of your neighbor. But when I'm saying in the terms of like metrics or this is how I do it, no, by looking in the mirror and being honest with yourself. It's as simple as that.
you do. That is a great point. I mean, you do. It's a great freaking point. Like, just like you said with the weight piece, okay, and even the diabetes piece, if you're not doing the things that you should do. You do. For the most part, you know. You know if you're not pre-bolusing, you know if you're not getting enough sleep, you know if you're not exercising, you know if you're eating crap, like, you know. And if you don't know, it's the open invitation to start learning.
Thank you
So,
for letting me
wha
break down you are a shining light, obviously, because of the way you are, bro. So just because I make you
yeah.
answer questions in a way that satisfies me, I'm only doing it. I'm only doing it because I got to get you out of your coaching mind sometimes and just be, you know.
But it's like, just like me, I don't expect to pull you out of your mindset,
Yeah, I know.
you know? Like, you sometimes, I feel like, wanna pull me out of the coach's mindset. The coach's mindset is my identity. It's part of who I am.
Yeah, I understand.
It's part of my identity. So I can't pull myself out of that out of that mindset because I don't just coach other people, I coach myself too. And that's how I roll. That's how I manage my life. That's how I manage my kids. That's how I manage my relationship with my wife. That's how I manage all of my relationships with all of you great people is I'm coming from the coach's mindset. I'm coming from with compassion and empathy because I never had it in the way I feel like I needed it when I started this journey with diabetes. So for me to sit here and not give that to someone else, I'll feel like a fucking hypocrite. So that's how I roll. That's how I communicate and that's how I talk and that's how I will continue to communicate and talk and support people. So thank you everybody for listening. If this really resonated with you, if you're watching this on YouTube, I really encourage you to like and follow the YouTube channel. We're going to keep putting out a lot of really cool content on the YouTube channel going forward. Like we're really wanting to build on that platform because people have told us that they like actually seeing our faces and not just hearing our voices. So I really hope that you're going and watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, which where most of you are, go over to YouTube too and just like and follow that page as well. So, Graham, thank you so much for joining me as always today. We will see everybody again next week. The lives will come back here soon. This one is actually not live today. We're still trying to figure out some bugs with some of the with going live on some of the platforms. We're trying to figure that out. So hopefully we figure that out in the next couple weeks. So we will be coming back on live here soon, but we do go live Mondays and Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard, and you guys will continue to get updates and stuff from us as we get back onto the lives. So thank you so much for listening. Graham, you're amazing. Everybody, you're amazing. Give yourself grace, and we will see you guys next time.